Hello, welcome to Soulprint. My name is Cindy. Thank you so very much for being here. So, I just want to chat for a little bit about holding your power, staying in it. Things are so topsy-turvy right now. And, you've got some people who are convinced that there was like massive amounts of fraud in the election, and then you have other people who are saying there's no fraud has been found yet. Um, the 20 million votes that were vanished are now down to way less than that because part of the votes that weren't counted were still being counted in like California. So there's like a lot going on back and forth. And one of the things that you want to be mindful of is that you don't get so like entrenched and wrapped up in this, because what happens is that you peak up your stress hormone. You get too much cortisol running around in your system, and it's not good for you, right? And we all have to learn how to take a step back and take a couple of deep breaths and recognize that things are going to unfold the way they're going to unfold. We have, as well, you have as American voters and citizens, there are things that you can do. There is a short window of time now where Biden is still the president, them still have control of some stuff. This is the time for them to put safeguards up and rails up and all of that. For those of you who have not yet checked out a YouTube channel called Resistance Live. So it's hashtag like the number sign and then Resistance Live. Um, the woman who does these podcasts has been like a political activist since she was like, I don't know, like 12 or 13 or something. She was a lawyer. She taught in, a law school somewhere. She's very well versed in politics and the law, and sort of how they meet and mingle. She had on Monday of this week a video where she was talking about the importance of calling your reps. All right. And what she said was really interesting. And I'm going to butcher basically what she said. But what it boiled down to is, when you call your rep, whether it is Republican or Democrat, so if it's a Republican, you want to let him know that he has to stand firm against Trump. If it's a Democrat, you want him to know that they need to get cracking and make sure that they can get as much stuff done before to protect the country before January 20th. What she said was, every time you call, that call gets logged. And eventually, it ends up being seen by the representative. So your message is actually getting through. So and I'm talking about this because I've heard people say, "What's the point? I live in a really red state or whatever." There's a point, and the point, and like she's saying, literally, call them every day, call them every day, and it's very simple messages. You want to make sure that you're asking for specific things, okay? So I'm sorry, but yelling and screaming about how the election was stolen and what are they going to do about it isn't particularly helpful. What you want to do is tell the Democrats they need to shore up resistance. They need to safeguard the country, and Republicans need to know that you're not real happy with this and that you don't want them falling into line with every single stupid thing that Trump does. We have been sent from like pillar to post emotionally, literally in the last 2 weeks. I mean, he is announcing um, cabinet cabinet choices that are insane. Like you can't even make them make sense. Um, and there's a lot of kind of back and forth, and the energy right now is so toxic when you were talking about politics. And it's even toxic, in mainstream media. So I'm asking you to please be very mindful of what you are absorbing and be very mindful of the validity of what you are absorbing. Fact check some of the stuff that's being said. Everybody operates from sort of a bias, right? And the bias is if you're saying something that I agree with, then you're right. And if you're saying something I don't agree with, you're wrong and you're stupid and I'm not going to listen to you. Okay? We all have to kind of start crawling into the middle where um nobody is right 100% of the time and nobody is wrong 100% of the time. So I'm going to do just now a short channeled message because I'm just going to ask Spirit to give us some guidance on how we manage the next several weeks, the next few months, because how we manage it, how we react, and how we respond has a very, very large impact energetically on understanding what's going on, accepting what's going on, um, questioning what's going on. In order to be able to do that effectively, you need to be standing in your power. So let's get cracking here. Spirit, could you please give us some guidance or insight so that people around the world, but most especially American citizens, um, can figure out a way or find a way to calm the energy so that they still are, being productive and doing things that are helpful, but without completely draining and depleting not only their mental and emotional health, but ultimately your physical health. Because if you stay in that really high vibratory, stressed out energy day after day after day, things start going haywire with your body because your body was not designed. There's fight or flight was not a 24-hour deal, right? It was a reaction to a situation. At some point, either you don't fight or you stop flying, but you don't stay in that mode for days and days and days at a time. So, Spirit, what can you tell us? Standing in your power is really a very good way to describe the energy that people should be embracing as they go forward. Standing in your energy means that you are like centered, you are connecting to all the parts of your being. So, not only physical, mental, emotional, but also spiritual or energetically. It's about recognizing that when you surrender your power, what you have done is diminish your light and increase somebody else's light. And one of the most common ways of diminishing your power is by giving in to fear. It is about um, allowing somebody else's behavior to negatively impact your process of getting through day by day. This is not to say that people shouldn't get upset. People get upset all the time. The question is, how long do you stay in that state? And ultimately, what do you do to move yourself from that state to the state where what you are doing is helpful and productive and enhances the light? I recently did a reading for somebody and we were talking about words. And I was saying that the whole resistance word, um, it sort of creates like this pushback energy. And she said, very smart woman, she said, I don't use the word resist anymore. I use the word activation. And that's like brilliant, right? Because instead of thinking, I'm going to resist this, what you're thinking is, what do I need to do to activate the energy to move things closer to the way um, want them to be, or there creates more balance. So think about that, because that's actually what you're trying to do. When you are activating something, you are enhancing your power and your energy. When you resist something, we don't resist the things we love. We don't resist the things that are, wonderful. We resist what frightens us. We resist what makes us angry. We resist what is not um, something that we want or believe. And so you're drawing from energies that have a lower vibration. And we know this. The more you stay in that lower vibration, the more you feed the lower vibration. And of course, the more you work to stay in the higher vibrations, the more you feed and amplify that energy. And what's going on right now is that, you know, Trump made it very, very clear, and Steve Bannon made it very, very clear, and whoever, Stephen Miller, the what's going on now is chaos. We know this from the 4 years that Trump was in office. He thrives on chaos. And what is going on right now is Trump basically taking that chaos bull by the horn and ramming it down everybody's throats, because that's the environment he likes to live in. The rest of us are like, oh my God, why are you doing this? So first, recognize the kind of manipulation that is going on out there. And if what you're consuming does nothing but create fear and anxiety, you need to pull back from that. I'm not saying, wipe your hands and disappear and go off, in some other direction, but you need to pull back. You need to allow your body time to sort of process the disappointment and the fear and the worry and the anger. Because once it's getting processed, then you've taken the first steps towards healing, healing yourself and healing the situation. Nobody knows right now what's going to happen within the next 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks. We can make guesses, we can work off of energy and things that we're being shown, but how that unfolds is not a known quantity. We can't pin it down. And I think that, I mean, I'm speaking for myself, but I suspect that there's a lot of other readers who are kind of in that same place where they're like, I keep getting information that, as of right now, looks like it's inaccurate. What am I supposed to do with this, right? Do I keep on saying it and repeating it and get everybody's hopes up? And then those hopes are crushed or plummeted when it doesn't unfold. And frankly, we've just experienced that, right? And I mean, you have readers who were convinced that Kamala was going to win and she didn't. And you know what it does is it creates a crisis of spirituality. It creates a crisis of trust. It creates a crisis of belief. And it's more important to recognize that and say, okay, that's what it did. That's what's going on in my body. That's why I have all this anxiety. I'm going to acknowledge now that I'm disappointed, I'm hurt, I'm confused, I don't understand why I was given the wrong information. Whatever it is, you need to go through a process where you can recognize the stress and anxiety you're in and start releasing it and letting it go. We know this because I'm forever saying it. When you are stressed, disconnect from what is stressing you out and go do something that is at the opposite end of the spectrum. I've heard that a lot of people, particularly in the United States, are starting to put up their Christmas decorations. Now, if I have it correct, usually Christmas decorations are something that happens right around that Thanksgiving weekend. Um, but people are doing it early because they're trying to bring in some joy and some light into their home. Whatever it is that works for you, do yoga, exercise, bake cookies, watch funny movies, whatever works, do it and utilize it because that is going to be what helps you move through this and allows you to stay in your power. And when you recognize your power, you are strong. And when you are strong, answers, solutions, and clarity follow. If you have any comments or questions, put them in the comment section below. Questions for Pendulum Friday. Please take really good care of yourself. These are tough times, but I know you guys. You're resilient, you're strong, and you're smart. So let's get moving forward and figure out what we do now. All right? Thank you so much for your ongoing support. Take really good care of yourself. Be well, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.